What's up, TikTok? What's up, YouTube? Uh Saturday, good Saturday, to you. Um, Wherever you're at. I gotta stop saying so much. Watching some of my videos on, playback and all that. And I keep saying the word a lot, so there's a lot of I guess it's just the way that I talk. It's one thing that you notice, right? If you're not yourself, you have to kind of moderate and control speech. It's kind of tricky. And it's weird because, I do, I like to do cheap impressions from time to time. So I've done that. Where did I get this, right? So how did it even start? I'll explain that on this Saturday afternoon. Let's see. Growing up in my era, right? In my era, let's see, in the 1980s and 90s, the big thing I spent a huge time playing with toys. So I played with GI Joes. I had let's see, a racetrack a couple times, like one or two, Hot Wheels, Ninja Turtles. Let's see. There are a couple other. I traded baseball cards and football cards, and then later Marvel cards. So back when I was a kid, that was the environment back then. We spent as children a lot of our time outside, right? I mean, maybe you did too, and I guess I'm talking to Gen Z when I say that. But we lived in a time when there was no internet, no social media, no phones, and all that, right? And I think what I feel is that you missed out on probably one of the greatest times or decades or time frames where people were more integrated socially, like on the norm. I think you Here's the thing. Here's the thing. What am I hearing on social media right now? Well, I wish men would just walk up to us and start talking to us. This is a Gen Z thing I'm hearing. I'm hearing this from the 30-year-olds. I'm hearing this from the 20-year-olds. So I'm hearing this from the younger generation. I'm watching social media. I'm watching all these videos about women, younger women or women of all kind of backgrounds, talking about where are the good men and why don't men approach, and why this, why that, why that. So I'm on the older. Am I older? I am older. I'm a millennial from an entire life offline. There is no such thing as the internet in my lifetime. That is not true for the rest of you that are younger than me. We are okay. So let me go into this a little further. Like, we are of the generation where posting is not a thing anybody did as a child or as a teenager. I mean, barely as an adult. Like, we come from an entire universe where people talking to one another was not a scary thing. And what I am looking at, what I am experiencing from all of the podcasts and uh, these interviews with these younger women, some of them college, some of them post college, a lot of them are, seem to be, educated in some sort. You know, it's weird. Like, we're all, proud that you went to school and got a degree, but at what cost? What did it cost you? Everything costs something. So uh, we have to take a look and examine, the sacrifices you guys had to make. You guys sacrifice security for affirmation. I mean, that seems to be the swap. The swap is I'm going to disconnect from real people and engage with digital audiences all the time, every day, on anything for no reason at all or for all the reasons in the world. And let me explain why. So I come from a generation that is divorced, not divorced, but was never married to that. Like we grew up just fine without it. When I say we grew up just fine without it, I mean that. Here's why. I have the ability. I mean, I've been a software engineer for like 15 years. So if there's anyone who understands the need and the dependency for a device or a computer, it's me. Um, I'm not saying, me only. I'm just saying that this is who you're talking to. That's why I mentioned that. So, yeah, I know the relevance of computing and devices. And, I've grown up with, in my era, I've grown up with Atari, an Atari that works. My dad had an Atari, but it didn't work. He didn't have all the cords, so I can never play it. He had some games too, like two joysticks and that round thing, controller thing. But I never got a chance to hook it up and play it because he was missing, I think, the power cord. Now it was old and it was dusty, but he had one. Anyway, I think he had Pac-Man, of course, and Defender. Um, he probably had some other one. Um, anyway, uh, side rant. But anyway, so I know what it's like to grow up on certain type of devices, but the devices are video games. So video games in my era, back in the 1980s, were how most people, kids, related and bonded, is over an arcade game. Because if you can play a multiplayer arcade game, you're both sharing the same adventure, trying to reach the ultimate goal, which is beating the game. So I don't know if a lot of our female counterparts understand what video gaming is for men. Uh, First of all, my age. Second of all, uh, l- second of all, what? It's our fabric, right? Like we went to the arcade, we spent quarters trying to beat something, and uh, we connected that way. We made friends that way. So back in my day, one of my best friends, I mean, he's still my best friend to this day. I was at an apartment complex in the South Side, San Antonio. I mean, that's where I live now, but I'm just saying South Side. Everybody should know from the local area where I'm talking about, right? So we were playing on the sidewalk, Ninja Turtles, and I had a couple friends um, who were neighbors, right? You know them. It's not only that. Not only did I know my friends, but I knew their parents and their siblings. So back then, having a friend meant that you knew everything about them and you knew everything about their family and you got to know people really well. So playing on the sidewalk with my friends, we had Ninja Turtles at the time. So we had the turtle van. Um, we had the transport module. We had all four turtles, but there were different versions of the turtles, like Detective Donatello or something like that in the trench coat. Um, it wouldn't be the plain, base model turtles. Like at the time, what was selling at the time was going to be model versions of the Ninja Turtles. So, but we had all four turtles, transport module, and the turtle van, which was a really big one. And this new kid moved in to the apartment complex. So one day he's playing outside by himself with his own toy. And his own toy happens to be the Technodrome. Like he had the the freaking Technodrome. Like you have no idea what a huge deal that was for me and my friends back in the day when we saw him just playing by himself, Ninja Turtles, but he had the Technodrome. So I think we kept looking at him and, that thing, we did the 10-yard stare or whatever. And he's like, he's got a Technodrome, dude. Dude, we need to play with him. And he comes over, he's like, hey, you guys want to play with my Technodrome? I'm like, shit, yeah, man. Fuck yeah, dude. Pick up all this shit. We picked up all our toys like with two hands, and so I'm like, okay, I'm getting the turtle van and I'm getting the transport module. You get the and you get the. And then we picked our toys up and we walked further down to the sidewalk and we pulled our toys down and we started playing with the transport module and the Technodrome. We opened it up. We use a turtle van to kind of follow the transport module down. You kind of made a story up or something like that. Anyway, like it was one of the most happiest days of my life as a child or as a kid. And the guy who had the Technodrome, um, he is still like my best friend, like 2026. So what I mean by best friend, I mean that first of all, I do text him on a regular just to see and check up on him and see how he's doing. This is a weekly thing or more than a weekly thing, not a daily thing. He needs, people need space. I just check up on him every now and then. So that's what I mean by best friend. He tells me what's going on or, anything I need to know. Like I said, he knows all of my family and I know all of his because we spent that much time together during our childhood. Like I think these are the things that when as I'm explaining this, I'm understanding now why Gen Z is the way it is. Like we're talking about the other side. We're talking about. Let me put this on silent. We're talking about the other side of the first wave of human beings who have been connected digitally versus analog through analog. And we're witnessing this result that they don't really like each other. And I think they don't really like each other because they've grown up apart, like the genders. And because they've had too much screen time, they're not used to dealing with real time with people. Like me as a millennial older, without online, without digital, just video games, that was it. And you bonded over that because it was an in-person ordeal. There was no online gaming. So you built a community of a network of friends and people you still talked. I still talk to people that I used to game with in person. So, you know, like these connections socially can last a lifetime. I was 20 something once. I was 19 once, but I made a hell of a lot of friends and connections I still keep up with till this day, digitally, only to see how they're doing. And they post important events just like everybody else these days. So I follow them, they follow me. And these are people and connections that I've made since school. So as far back as elementary, there are elementary school people that I do follow and talk to. So we build the type of era that we grew up in, that I grew up in, where so much time is spent outside and with other people, we are having this struggle when we look at you as Gen Z, and it's like, okay, we see the problem. You're too much. You've spent so. I need you to try and understand, like the chasm between Gen Z and millennials, like myself. The chasm is that you've spent so much time disconnected from reality, attached to a digital device and experiencing the world digitally, that experiencing real life in real time and dealing with real difficulty, building connections with real people is a struggle. I'm going to consider this. I need you to really think about this. There are videos that I saw on these platforms of women setting up a phone, and then they're working out or doing whatever, and they're freaked out because a man looked at them. And I'm like, so we're at a point, and I want you to really pay attention to what I say here, is that you're more comfortable sharing video to a bunch of strangers you've never met in person, to hundreds of people. You're willing to post something that can be seen by millions of strangers looking at you. But the content that you're posting is that you're freaked out or you're creeped out because a real live person, a man, looked at you. Like one. Like you're freaked out about the one man in real life versus endless or billions of people who can see your post or your live stream. Like psychologically speaking, that makes no sense at all. What I just said. You would pick. So there's this thing about the bear in the woods I've been hearing about. Bear versus a woman would rather spend time with like an animal that can possibly like end her life versus a man, a random man. And I'm thinking about it. Everybody who thinks about it logically thinks one way. Everyone who thinks about it emotionally thinks another way. At least that's the impression I get when I'm hearing and watching these videos. It's like, well, man can assault you or da 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 da. I'm like, yeah, but he can also protect you from that bear. Or maybe like you build an attraction. Or maybe like you stop and talk to. So it's really weird because here's the thing. It's really weird because psychologically speaking, in my era of being a millennial, we would never choose an animal because we know we cannot talk to them. I mean, this isn't Winnie the Pooh we're talking about. Like, we're not talking about some grizzly and it's weird how you talk about like wild animals. Like, wild animals do not ignore people. I mean, that's why we call them kind of wild, because they pay attention. Wild animals pay attention to everything and everybody. Wild animals are not domesticated or interfered with in nature. Therefore, they are naturally behaving as they should. And the law of every jungle is kill or be killed. So, like, I mean, what are we talking about when it comes to a wild animal? Like everyone, I believe, like what I was hearing was that the bear was somehow going to leave a person alone. I'm like, what makes you think a man wouldn't do the same thing? Men aren't approaching you guys anyway, and you still feel safer with the wild animal. And that's what kind of like, and it just freaks me out. It's like, what the hell? Like, we really, I'm just like, wow. It's just mind, it, it boggles the mind. Let me just say that. How about that? It boggles the mind how the younger generation is so distrusting of the other. And there's this resentfulness. They call it a gender war. I'm like, a gender war? What the? And it is, I guess, a gender war. But what do you? When the hell did this happen? Who fired the first shot? I'm like, what? So, I don't know, right? I mean, this is just me like observing what I'm seeing, and then the stories that I was telling you earlier is just explaining that my whole life is just building connections with people, strong connections with people in person. And you are a generation, a younger generation that has been robbed of that. You know, I think that's the biggest mistake we made as parents. Maybe that maybe that's us. Maybe that's how we raised you. We put a device in your face instead of valuing the real friendships that you make with people. Like, we should have taken you outside to the playground more and taken away the device like less. I think that's, if I want to say, if I want to have any takeaway from this, like some kind of like, I don't know, teachable moment, you know, the more you know or whatever, is that we should have taken you outside more to the playgrounds. We should have bought you more toys. We should have encouraged you to knock on doors and become friends with the neighbors' kids, so that you guys can just play outside and do whatever and explore the world, have talks. So what I'm also noticing is that when we're talking about talks, this word therapy comes into play like a lot of times. And I'm like, wow. So now we're talking about psychiatric or psychological professionals um, to intervene and help you with things. I suppose there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that we overuse the profession to do what? Why do we have a profession for being completely open and honest with and transparent with somebody? Like, why is that something that is a professional service rather than like something you readily have access to? So here's what I mean by that. Like, as a millennial, I have so many friends I can open up to about different parts of my life, and they can give me honest feedback and an assessment about, you know, maybe where I went wrong or maybe how I should see things in a different perspective, and take me out of myself. Because once I explain myself, I am looking for feedback and honest assessment and a judgment. You know, what would you do in my situation? Or here's the situation, how it played out, and here's how I feel about it and why. So we have, I over the years, I've been able to like talk with other people because I have more in-depth relationships that are personal and in real life. And the real life relationships are uh, they're bigger than any kind of social media platform with any, how many users. So like friendships, the word friendship for me means someone that you are willing to know and associate yourself with and grow with for the rest of your life. I mean, that is what a friend is. Um, like friends, I don't think friends, real friends, come and go. I don't think that happens at all. Not with my generation. Um, like, you have arguments with friends, you have fights with friends, You open up and shut down and cut friends off, but they're still your friends, even though you cut them off. But you disagree with friends. You always, you disagree about things with your friends, but that's not the reason. All of the things that I mentioned aren't reasons that you're friends. You're friends because um, intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually, you guys are connected. Like that's what a friend really is. It's a spiritual connection that will never that can survive time and all cases and scenarios. That's what a friend is like if you want to just be blunt about it. And with the younger generation, what the social disconnect is that you're focused on friends, but they're all digital. Like followers and subscribers aren't real friends. Like they're not people you can be able to be honest with and then get you can get honest feedback. I mean, I can kind of do that. But there are people called trolls and there's a lot of pandering and self-grandizing, all that kind of crap. And you need something authentic, and that's only when you open yourself up to friends. So, I mean, a friendship is a real thing. It's tangible. It's it's just life lasting. But anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up. Friends and I mean, it's just weird though. Like you guys, so I mean, from what I was talking about earlier, how I grew up was just in an era of connection, human connection. So in the online era, we are going through the era of human disconnection from the real world, but plugged in to the digital world. You guys are probably more online than we've ever been in a lifetime. And that's just because you were born in the era of the internet and all of its technical wizardry. So, I mean, the question is, what do we do with that? Like, how do we, the only thing I can think of as a guy my age is to hopefully build an open and honest connection when I do these podcasts or lives or whatever, when I do these things. What I hope is to like at least express to you that I'm watching, I'm paying attention, um, I understand to some extent, but I don't think you fully understand because what's just been laid out for you hasn't been told by your mama, your daddy, nobody. Everybody thought it was okay to put something digital in your face when you were growing up as a kid. Like everybody, including me. Like I raised my daughter up on, VHS, DVD, Blu-ray. Um, my computer, it's always been a supercomputer, but she's been able to, as a little girl, at 4 years old, she was able to mimic the files. See, here's what it is. I had a gaming emulator. I still have it probably. And you can play Super Nintendo, Sega. Yeah, just those three platforms. That was all they're interested in anyway. Um, I was playing Sonic the Hedgehog. I have 1, 2, and 3, but she liked Sonic, so every time I had a controller, a PC controller. You hook it up to the PC, and then you can make sure to put it as a control input. Da, 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 da. So you open up this folder, you go to this drive, you go to this folder, and underneath this folder, you go to this folder, and then there's this icon, and you click, and it executes the emulator. And then from there, you click on open, and you can search for what game that you want in the proper file. So I had that all configured and set up, and this was like way over 20 years ago. But She learned, actually, this was 20 years ago. She learned how to open up all of the files, execute the emulator, and select the right game she wanted to play at 4 years old. So I found that to be like, I was doing a lot of things at 4. Opening up computer files to execute like an emulator and then like load a ROM in a computer and then learning how to set the input for the controller. That was something she was able to do after watching me do it so many times. So I understand that, like, a child watching their parent do something over and over again digitally, they pick it up. Like, I don't understand how, but I was proud of her for that. There's a part of me that's like, she's really smart. Like, what the hell? I wasn't able to do this, but yeah, she goes down, click on that Sega. She loves Sonic. She loves singing along to the tone. She's like, she'll like hum to it as she's playing the game. So yeah, that's just one of the older dad kind of moments I wanted to share while I was up here. Yeah, we put a lot of technology in your face, and so that's probably where we went wrong as parents. We let the tech raise you instead of like sit down and talk to you and drag you outside to make friends. So it's just it's shocking to see how scared you are of each other. You're scared of each other as an entire generation than any other generation before you. We do not have this issue. We're older. We grew up offline, but at the same time, we're perpetrators, meaning we put these devices in your faces in the first place. We made them available to you, and now we're reaping what we sow. But you're reaping it. You're reaping the bad results of being online. You're disconnected from reality and you're afraid of reality. You're afraid to really talk to each other more than it is a post to random people online in cyberspace. You're comfortable in cyberspace more than you are in the real world when you walk outside your house and experience it. That's the problem. So, how do we solve that problem? A lot of it's going to have to be a real big disconnect from posting absolutely everything online because not everything you do in real life needs to be posted. I mean, like, make your voice heard, but every day is not necessary. It just isn't. I mean, from what I'm looking at, your posting of stuff every single day uh, robs you of a real life social interaction that you could be having and building with a person that you just run into in the real world. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I'm perfect and I don't look at my phone all the time. I do, but I don't let it distract me from what's in front of me. So I notice at work, like, a lot of younger people will be on their phones rather than being able to produce or work or pay attention to anything in the real world. Like older, people my age, we can put down the phone and let it charge all day. I mean, hell, what I do is turn off the ringer or put it into airplane mode if it's hard to get a signal and it drains your battery. Like, I can do without the phone. Phone can be over there. I got work to do. My mind has to be focused on the task at hand. Not if somebody wrote me back, not if somebody liked something I posted, you have to forgive the background noise. I mean, I live near a main road, so. But yeah, I mean, I mean, all of that stuff for me can wait. Emails, they can wait. When I'm good and ready at this time, when I have the chill time, I'll get to them emails. I'll get to those notifications later, not now. So I'm used to living more in the real world than the cyber world. And one of the reasons you can tell is that I tend not to post every day. Like for what? Oh, there was a fly in my apartment. Let me post something about it, or whatever. Now I have been posting pictures that of some apps that I made. I made Speech Bubble and I made Thought Bubble. And now I haven't put them in the Play Store or anything like that yet. I mean, I hope to pretty soon. There are a couple of digital ideas I have that I want to put out there, but they need grants or investment or funding or whatever you want to call it in order for me to, dedicate nothing but time, to producing it. But I guess what was my point with that? Yeah, I just don't post. I just don't post like habitually. Like I don't have an habitual need to post. I mean, if you think about posting every day, if you think about it, like what are you looking for? Like you're looking for someone else to see it. Someone else saw it. One. Are you really disappointed that only one person saw your post? Like, how does that make you feel? Does that affect does that affect how you feel about yourself in any way, shape, or form if only one person saw your post? Or zero people, or your post had no views? And from what I understand of the younger generation, the answer has to be yes. If you're posting frequently, it's because you're looking for the feedback and you're looking for an emotional feeling and appreciation like from it. Here's the thing though. Here's the thing though. You know what's really ironic? Like when women walk into the world from when my age, um, think about I would just want you to like take this time travel with me in this DeLorean here. When girls I was a guy back in like, let's just say I was like 12, 13. So we're at the mall, right? Teenagers are at the mall. That's one of the social places that pretty much all teenagers should be hanging out at. Me personally, for many reasons. It's one of the strongest meeting places in society for young people to mingle and get to know each other and hang out and be themselves. Um, but anyway, back in those days, we hang out at the mall or at the arcade, and we like talk to women differently. Like we hollered at women that we see on the regular, like, "Hey, what's up? How you doing?" Something like there was a lot of game that was being kicked back then. There was a lot of here's what's weird. You're Gen Z, so maybe this is a thing. I come from an era where men did all the approaching all day, every single day, no matter where you were, no matter how many friends you had around you. We did the approaching all day long in my era. Growing up, approaching a woman is still the most terrifying attribute. Um, it's the most terrifying experience for a man because it's it's a depending on who you are, it's a hit or miss. If you get rejection is ugly and can get ugly and can be humiliating. So approaching like random women that you don't know is like just not even a non sequitur to start building confidence. You build confidence from the successful encounters you have, not from the rejection. Rejection does not build confidence. It can destroy a man's ego. It can destroy a man's confidence. With enough rejections, a person will give up trying. So no, it doesn't build confidence. I'm not sure where women got that. I mean, um, people who are unemployed severely, meaning they've been applying to different places every single day, all day, and that's what they've been doing, and they've had no feedback, no follow up, no nothing. They give up. Eventually, they have to stop because if they're you can't do the same thing over and over and over again and get rejected and then expect to do it again the next day or make that your priority. At some level, you're going to just stop and reassess and, maybe take a break and get your mental game right and figure out what to improve, this and that, just like anything. But in my day, I got real.
Sure how to help you with that.
That's Alexa. I'm not sure what that was about. Anyway, in my day, uh, building character and characteristics that were attractive was a daily exercise. We have different social muscles than you do. We're built differently. We have no issue talking to someone we don't know. We we have no apprehensions about people looking at us or us looking at them. I mean, we have no red flags or creeps or vibes or I mean, whatever these things are supposed to be. Uh, my time, my peoples, we have chemistry. Like we're both feeling each other, and I guess that could be what vibes is kind of alluding to. So it's just like chemistry and energy and like things like that. And a no can easily turn into a yes with enough yakking and enough time. We've grown up in this era where it's not just that the expectation of guys to approach, it's just that we're approaching and we're expected to, we can either approach alone or we had a wingman. And a wingman is your best friend or the guy friend that you came with. And, you know, um, it can be intimidating, like approaching like a certain caliber of woman. So, or girl, even back in the day. So you brought your best friend with you, and he's just kind of like your confidence man. He gives you the confidence and says what he needs to say to kind of back up your play. So, yeah, we these are the things that we grew up with, like back in the day, when we were at the mall or when we were at the bars or clubs, things like that. We lived our lives completely outside when we were children, when we were teenagers, and now when we're adults. The adults of my era of the millennials, like we play outside still. We enjoy being more outside than indoors because when we just grew up that way. Number one and number two, socializing with people among ourselves of being of the 80s and 90s era, we have this social understanding of how people should and shouldn't behave, which means we're not afraid of each other. We understand that we grew up in a different era where physical touch isn't and was never a scary thing for two people to do, like high fiving, like you know, uh, give me five or give me daps, give me love, like all of these like gestures of kind of kindness and connection is something of my era being raised under. So you know these are the things that I hope younger generations can experience. I want to say this in like film and movies and things like that, because if we don't, we need to start producing. this generation of movies in the based out of the 80s of how 80s people in real life used to be. And the same for I'm starting from childhood and then going up being a teenager in the 90s, what shows we watched, what games were out back then, video games. And then in the 2000s era, and we need different mini series of how life was experienced offline and how real connections and friendships have persisted throughout time. And like small things, lessons to be learned from it, or whatever. I think if at least Gen Z had access to that as a visual medium through a miniseries or a couple of miniseries. I mean, Stranger Things is a part of that, right? Stranger Things is a complete presentation about um, uh, an entire childhood that's offline. So we need more time period miniseries pieces that are just as entertaining and can follow the same type of timeline of maybe 70s, 80s, 90s, something like that. I mean, because the type of real interactions for younger people these days is just so apprehensive, and I'm observing this when I go out to different bars and clubs where there are younger people at. That's what I like to do. I go to the bars where people are my age or older. I go there on Saturdays, but on Friday nights I'll spend my time at the younger people bar because I first of all I get out there and dance like to really good songs if they're playing it. You know, just because I that's just what I do. In case you don't know who me or what I do with my channel, I do dance, but I do enjoy dancing, but I enjoy dancing to dance music. And sometimes the DJs won't be playing real dance music until later or something like that. So I go to where the good music is at. I try and go to where the good music is at because dancing for me is healthy type of exercise that I enjoy, and I think I've gotten a little decent at it. So anyway, so last night I went out, of course, right? So so I'm just noticing, I'm just there flying a wall. That's kind of the role I play. I mean, I don't do approaching these days because, like I said, these younger people are just afraid of social interactions, even though they want the approach. So I like to just observe, and I'm observing, the women who came there together, and um, the people who came in groups or groups that know each other, how they interacting, um, and then people who just float around the bar and float around the place, the environment, and talk to people who know or talk to the regulars who attend there. So I um I tend to dig the music and dig the singing a bit, and then I'll go to another bar, and if they're playing good music, I'll wind up dancing to it. I'll have um if a good Friday night, a good DJ's there and play some hits back to back, you can find me dancing. So a lot of younger people like to watch me dance, and they like to participate. They like to dance with me, which is pretty cool. I like that. I appreciate it too. For me, it's a compliment. So yeah, I mean, nobody, and because I wear my hat all the time, nobody really, I don't think, is aware of my like real age or anything like that. I don't think anyone would care anyway. They'd probably be shocked and surprised, but I mean, I'm there having a good time. It doesn't matter how the result or outcome of that is. But yeah, clubs and bars that I go to, like it's kind of rare to see them kind of like out there on the floor doing something. So I like to start the party a little bit. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but it's just one of those things. I'm trying to dance less strenuously because what happens is that when I go to bed, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night with like leg cramps or foot cramps, my ankle cramps up because I was moving so fast on the dance floor. And I hate that because I really enjoy dancing. It's just like, why am I getting these cramps after when I'm just starting to lie down and get some sleep? But that's the cost. I think that's kind of like the cost you pay if you can do something really well. It's going to cost you something, and for me, it's pain. Mm. Anyway, so about the clubs that I go to where there are people my age or older, people are on the dance floor. Like people are doing their thing. Like people are dancing with each other and asking each other to dance. Like there is no social awkwardness. There is no like you're far removed from interacting with someone random and being there's all these hellos, there's all these how have you been, for people my age that go to the same bar on the weekends. I'm going tonight, it's Saturday night. So you're always familiar to somebody who's your age, of your generation, and you can all share the same music. You can all, enjoy being there together, just out on the dance floor and having a good time. Nothing is ever serious or committed or too far, quote unquote. Everybody knows how to act and behave as adults, as mature adults. So there's none of this like inappropriate like behavior of, like anything real serious, unless a fight breaks out. I mean, there could be a fight that breaks out. I mean, this is few and far between though. So, and security is at these places, so they get that handled. But for the most part, us mature people do know how to interact with each other and talk to each other, give each other hugs, love, respect, and all that. So it's just something like being a social creature is what we are more than a digital representative. So we're more comfortable in the real world, and sometimes I wonder, I bounce in between two generations, like my generation and then the younger generation, and the reason I do this is because I want to see the chasm. I want to experience both worlds because I know what you're talking about when you say you're not being approached. I know what you're talking about. It's just you and your friend there with the with drinks in your hand or just chilling with a cigarette, and you're just chilling, talking about whatever, and you're scoping the scene just like I am, and you're walking around like 20 feet or like whatever it is to get to a different position so you can be maybe check out the scene more. Because I do the same thing. Don't worry about it. But the difference is I'm there just to observe you. I do engage because some guys are willing to say, "Hey, what's up?" and "How you doing?" and we're more engaged and cordial with each other because we can do that. Uh, Now with women, it's different because your approach has to be, it has to be something that's out of the ordinary. I feel, at least that's how I feel. Uh, my approach is basic. I like to compliment a woman's clothes or what she wore, only because I know that for women it takes time to get ready to come out somewhere. So I'm like, hey man, I'm really digging the makeup. I mean, because I can tell you put a lot of time into that. It looks really good, cool. If I see that you've like, you know, put time into it. So compliment on the obvious. The time she took ready, she looks ready, a little special, and the outfit kind of compliments that. So you got to know how to make a compliment. That's pretty, you know, if you like a girl and you're out in the real world and she looks good, just compliment her that she looks good. I mean, at the very least. So, and I too need to take this advice, but I understand why Gen Zers, you know, are they're, I guess they're sitting around at clubs and bars waiting for that. And if if the guy isn't someone that you're attracted to right off the bat, then it feels like instant rejection. Here's what instant rejection looks like. It's like, "Oh, thank you." And then, I'm like, if I say something else and like I leave an open-ended question or I transition into a conversation, then uh if you're trying to end or shut down that conversation, like I can get that social cue and that hint. And guys can pick that up real quick, especially guys my age. We know when we're having a conversation, engaging with you, whether or not you want to take it further, you want to get to know us, or are you instantly just like un, um, turned off, unattracted, or kind of, you know what I mean? Like I can pick that up real quick through conversation, through the questions I ask you and how you answer them. So, I open conversation with their looks and complimenting the looks, and then I start in with, hey, you guys are it's just you two, you guys expecting any friends or whatever. Just some simple yes or no questions. And then just, see what their first time there, or how they like the music, or things like that. Just the smaller details, just to kind of see if they're interested in having a conversation or not. And if they are willing to talk and kind of waste time with you for a few minutes, you can get to really know people, new people, younger people too. So, it's I think that's, I think, and here's me just talking like really kind of crazy. And I think that since the millennials, your parents probably, I think that because we are such social creatures, we need to be in the bar and club environment, telling you, interacting with you, approaching you. And I think because we are socially conditioned to interact with people in real life and in real time, we need to probably express that kind with you. If millennials my age started approaching women again, younger women, and just started talking or whatever, maybe kind of sort of, without being I don't think older people like myself get quote unquote humiliated. We did growing up as teenagers and as children or whatever. The humiliation factor was probably exponentially greater. But as we've grown older in this modern era, like we have, I think it's because we have no F's to give. Yeah, we ran out of F's, right? So it's kind of like you have a better chance of one of us older people approaching you than someone your age, only because how we were socially conditioned growing up in the first place. So if we lead by example in the same bar or club environment, perhaps we can normalize, you guys as Gen Zers interacting with each other randomly, and maybe not having such a negative outlook or aspect on socializing like normal human beings. So I mean, at least that's the theory that I'm kind of cooking up in my head about it. I'm not sure how that plays out in real life, but at least it's an idea that says, millennials who are conditioned to socialize are helping the younger generation to try and kickstart socializing. I mean, I don't know. I really don't. I mean, I really think because we conditioned you to be on a screen as babies and as children, as toddlers, and this and that. We've conditioned you to always be on the screen, always from birth. Um, we've conditioned you to a digital world without teaching you about the real life world, and that's our failure. So I believe it would be up to us to take the responsibility of approaching you younger generations out in the wild, making conversation, so that being approached becomes normalized again. I think that is how we, as older millennials, fix it, because it's not because between from what I observe in the Gen Z generation, it ain't gonna be the women that go first, and it ain't gonna be the men that want to go first. So if your generation is cooked because nobody wants to make the first move, or you guys are, kind of soft guy, soft girl era, whatever that is, then it's going to be up to us to take the initiative to actually approach, younger people such as yourselves, and start a conversation and start normalizing like real conversations about shit, random shit. And um I think that it should be both, just taken with a grain of salt, meaning like when you see an older person like myself like approach you, I mean, don't take it the wrong way, but I'm doing what you people say you want. So, you know, um, I mean, I look different than this, right? I mean, I do have like some gear I wear that makes me like stand out a little bit. But yeah, it's gonna take our one and only superpower of socialization to help you through this. Otherwise, we're just gonna we're gonna continue to socially decline. I mean, you guys are more on dating apps more than dating. You're more on dating apps. I'm included, but you're more on, well, maybe another story. But you're more on dating apps than experiencing dating in real life. Like we've always been dating. I mean, people of my generation, like that was always a thing. Talking to people, to we are one of the last generations that of teenagers that talk to each other more than text. So the way that we experience people even over a digital medium such as the phone is completely different than how you younger people are engaging with each other over like the comments section or a post or limited characteristics in how you can express yourself. Like having a telephone call is nothing like texting someone. The experience is completely different. You're experiencing a real person trying to convey or talk to you, in a way that you can understand, and you can understand them, they can understand you. Meaning, two people engaging in a phone conversation have to practice certain etiquette. I mean, you guys, people try and talk over each other over the phone if you're having an argument, but at least it's understood that you won't, while you're on the phone, like you're experiencing someone's authentic self. Their feelings can be felt within the context of their voice and how they're saying something to you. On text, you guys have maybe emojis and you have caps. I mean, it's not the same thing. Like it really isn't. So it doesn't matter how many exclamation marks you put after something. I mean, it's pointless and meaningless. It's just text. So how we experience each other, people my age, when talking over the phone or dealing with each other in reality is completely different because none of it, hardly any of it was text. The text that we're used to is a piece of paper and a pen. And even within that text, you use all of the pieces of paper necessary to express or convey an idea or a feeling or an emotion. So, people used to write poetry to each other. Guys would do that to express our feelings, our romantic feelings and intention for a woman or girl, if we were in school. Note passing was the text messaging of my generation. It was a way to try and gauge how a girl felt about you before you would make an actual approach. I was taken with this girl um, since fifth grade, maybe. I was hopefully obsessed with this girl, and I think most men like of my age has the same kind of story. I'm obsessed with this girl. I like her. I hardly know anything about her, but you like her. Like you want to kiss her, you want to hold her hand, you want to be her boyfriend, you want her to be your girlfriend. You don't know why. You don't know anything about her, but you know that looking at her makes you feel like this way about her. Um, Now, yes, of course, I'm this age, and you don't ever forget feelings for women like that. Like, I need most women to understand that when we like you, when we really like you, um, when we were kids or when we were boys, that candle does not burn out. It just doesn't. Like we still feel the same way. The intensity of the candle may have died because it's not at its crevets, you know, but the wick still burns. Like we still like you if we were married to you or if we were dating or if we were ever together, like those feelings that we had when we were together, like we still, number one, I'm not sure if any of you women know this, but yes, we still think about you, even though you're an ex, whatever the hell we were, situationship, husband or wife, we still do think about you. We do. We think about our past relationships. We talk about, well, we think about where we messed up at, but more importantly, we always wonder if we were still together. We think about two things when it comes to women, like in our lives. The women that we used to deal with, we think about like number one, should we be married? Like I feel this way about you to an extent where I am considering like what being a husband to you is like. And that is what we think about as men. Like what is being a husband to you look like? Would I be able to cut off all access to other women so easily and so readily and give up all of the social and dating quote unquote aspects of digital life of trying to search for, some sex somewhere and surrender it all because being with you would be that fulfilling to me. Like these are the types of assessments that we make as men when we talk about what does being a husband look like. Because for me, I was in a relationship where I was obsessed with the girl, not obsessed, but in love with the girl, with the woman, so much to an extent where being faithful and being like a husband to her, I felt like the only thing missing was the rings and the piece of paper that said we were married. But, the relationship didn't last. So, but the the feeling didn't change because like there are women that I were with that I was dating who I have like cheated on, right? I mean, yeah, I'm a man. I cheated. Sue me. But and but with this relationship with this one woman, I felt as if I felt secure in it because I knew I didn't have to do that. Like I had like the kind of access to her that I wanted. And when I would walk with her, I mean, we look kind of like an odd couple because she's like 4 foot something and I'm like six something. So even though we're together and I'm, taller and she's shorter, like the feeling of us being together felt natural, so natural that when I'm navigating the area, like usually as a man, I'm like looking at other women, but I didn't have to like concentrate on women, like, because when I would look at her, I would like look down at her. I would look at her. I'm like, babe, like, like I'm lucky I have you. Not that I'm lucky, I am, but no other woman compares to you. It's like I don't need to look at any other woman because I know I have the best one. The best one likes me and looks like this with a body like that. So I had the whole package. Like I said, the relationship didn't last, but at least that's when I got the feeling that I was thinking what it would be like being her husband because I can be committed to her, just her, and not have to worry about seeking anything elsewhere. But yeah, I mean, this is a lot of things that men think about. We think about what it would be like to be, your husband if you're, this one girl or that one girl who we were dealing with. We think about that in the context of a woman that we're currently seeing, not currently seeing as in, hey, we're currently dating, but the woman that came into our lives briefly and walked out of it. Like she was the most beautiful thing you probably have ever saw, or the attractive thing you ever saw. But you're wondering, like, yeah, but would I marry her though? Or would we date? Or would she date me? Or she's just like using me for my money or whatever. So there's a whole bunch of assessments that, we make as men as far as what kind of relationship we think something is going to turn into and how it's going to start. So all of those factors come into play when it comes to the game and mate selection and all that. But anyway, yeah, this is interesting. It's an interesting experience. First of all, live streaming on a Saturday, and second of all, just kind of going over and reminiscing over how I grew up and what my observations are of the younger generation and how this whole thing is played out as far as time going by, people being more connected to the internet than they are in reality. So it is a weird thing. How do we, well, I think I discussed how we fix that, right? I said, since it's us, the millennials, who got you addicted to all this, it's our responsibility to get you off the off the um off the platform so much and off of social media and get you back into socializing. I think more people would feel better around each other when it comes to the younger generation if we simply explain to you as your parents and as your elders that socialization is the greatest experience two random strangers could ever have. You can build something out of absolutely nothing that can turn into one of the best meetings you've ever had. Your bestest best friend was not your best friend. They were a complete stranger at one point. You got to know them, like you felt an instant connection with them or a connection that built over time, and now you're able to trust them with anything, everything. Like they support you no matter what you do, and likewise. That's not something that just comes out of thin air. Like you have to be a social creature in order to understand it. So, you have to, I mean, it's a bunch of chances that are scary, but they're exciting. Like school was exciting. School, what is school but a bunch of strangers that you eventually get to know, like personally? Like you know a lot of people in your school. You know their first and last names. You knew where they lived. You knew their parents. So I mean, these things are that we experience as younger people should be things that we experience as adults as well. But I guess with technology, there's a huge with this huge hyper connection, we engage you guys engage in a social disconnection. So we have to build that connection back in the real world. And, I don't know if it's not going to be easy. It's not. And there are going to be a lot of ugly parts to it. But, in the long run, I think it'll be worth it. I mean, it'll change your personality. I think that if you both put down the phones and stop posting so much on the daily about your real life experiences, then the real positive things that you can build on can start from a genuine place rather than lights, camera, action. And I mean, that's no way to being on a camera as you're moving throughout the world is not uh, a positive or um, real way of interacting with people, you know? And when the reporters go out and they interview people, the reporters are on their best behavior. when the camera is rolling. They're not there like relating to whoever they're talking to and like they're having a genuine conversation. Like one's interviewing the other. One is comporting themselves completely different because when they're off camera, like cut, and then they start talking. You hear them talking crazy when the camera's off. So and it's all, and I think that's just a thing. You know, your camera's on, you act and behave a certain way. I mean, maybe it's some kind of phenomenon. But anyway, yeah, I'm hoping what I say makes sense. I mean, I do a lot of things. So about myself, right? Ah, this is complicated. About myself, like I looked up what I would be. Like what am I? Like how does one like myself describe myself? So I guess I can explain. How do I describe myself? Well, you describe yourself. You're defined by what you do and what you do often or what you've done in life. So I know that I'm a very technical person, right? I know that I'm a very logical person. So what crosses my mind is relationships, dating, marriage, family, kids, theoretical physics, and quantum physics and metaphysics. Technology, application development, building, full development life cycle, software development life cycles, deployments, testing, automation, artificial intelligence, and things like that. Movies, miniseries, TV shows, old school TV shows that were actually funny, um, anime, cartoons, Saturday morning cartoons, um, old school soap operas, scary, gory movies, comedies, movies in general. I'll just say that. Music, heavy metal, alternative, rap, hip hop, and R&B, old school like I'm gonna say old school, and old school means 90s, 80s, 70s, maybe some 60s, something like that. Yeah. Um, what else? So I'm a consumer of these media platforms and I think about these things all the time. This is what fills up my brain. This is what fills up my mind. This is what I spend my mind kind of like on. So I have an 80s playlist, I have a 90s playlist, I have soundtrack playlist from all the movies I've ever seen that I enjoy listening to soundtracks to. I make multiple playlists. One is shadow stepping for my dance videos that I make. So there's a lot of songs on my shadow step list that I want to actually dance because what I do is in my head. So if you're gonna get the secrets, but I guess in my head, I've danced to a song like 1,000 times before I execute it in real life on a camera for the first time. But dancing, I've learned to express myself through the song that I've heard at least a million times. But to express it for the first time in motion is something that I've kind of like picked up on, over the years. So, there's just that consumes my mind. Um, so just to share a quick thought about what I particularly as a man think about. Besides my past relationships and things like that. Let's see. Well, there's some other. I just believe that there's a lot of talents I have And I wish like it'd be cool if I would like pull a dollar from any of the talents that I have. So I don't know how like talents get monetized in a digital era unless you're, you know, I don't know. I feel like you have to be participating in something really toxic, unhealthy, um, sexual, demeaning, or even hateful. Like I don't understand how all of the hate gets so much money and like subscribers and viewerships and things like that, and then all of the positive stuff doesn't get a dime. Like all of the real, hey, this piece of advice would help you succeed in life or help you relate to people more and get a more positive out. How come that's never like a million or $1 billion? And how is it that positive videos and people who speak positively about relationships and how to relate to each other, how is that not $1 billion? How is that not the one like worth all the money that people, the free dollar that people may or may not have to contribute to? I never really understood that. Why is it that the toxic, like, I hate men and I hate women, and here are the reasons why and how, and, don't date this person, and red flags, and, oh, you need to leave him, or you need to, or she belongs to the streets, or something like that. Like, there's all of these negative sayings about the other, and none of it's going to be conducive to a healthy relationship. Nobody has the answer to say, like, okay, we need to move in this direction only because it's going to improve how we relate. Like, no one seems to really have that answer, but it's only because when you're in digital media, you're contracted to only one kind of space, and that space is usually of your own making, with algorithms and all that. But yeah, I mean, free yourself from that space, and like you have to be open enough to receiving attention in real life. So you're used to seeing receiving attention on a phone because it's a notification that you can check or a like. Like you can like accept the fact that 1,000 people like you online, but the one or two dudes that may have tried to approach or look at you in real life, you have a problem with. It's just like, yeah, I mean, it's just it's most perplexing. It just is. It is a psychological issue that we have to address as a human species because we're social creatures and we're supposed to be acting that out in real life every day, not expressing ourselves through posts and texts because things can be taken out of context, and you can't really express what you want to say or how you want to say it when you're just writing it down or trying to, things like that. So, uh, what else? I think I was talking about what am I and who I am as a person. So, sometimes I get carried away into some rabbit hole, but you'll have to forgive me. I'm like, I do that. What else? I like impressions. I like to sometimes get into impressions. I don't. I don't know why. I don't know how. I just know it happens, and when it does, I tend to go with it for as long as the context of what I am saying may make sense or not. Uh, Now I've been doing what I've been doing for some time. Uh, when I was a boy, I had toys that I would play with. Therefore, I had to act out these little scenarios of G.I. Joe making a move on Cobra, or they transformer things would would fight a battle or a war with the G.I. Joes, and I'd have to assign personas to each one of the pages in order to make it more entertaining for myself. So that I don't know, that just happened to be a thing over time. Um mm, I think I think my favorite thing about like doing like bad impression I call them bad impressions. That's my channel that I release some stuff under. I think the my favorite thing about it is that I can I like exploring with different there's so many different I mean there's movies and scenarios that I like go over in my head and it's just a funny it's just a funny thing to say. Like you're wasting time, Fräulein. We have ways, many ways of telling us exactly what we want to know. Robot, increase the power by 10%. I want the Führer himself to hear him scream in pain. There are, I don't know. There's some I don't know where they sometimes I don't know where you get an impression or where it comes from. There are some that just come out of like left field. You didn't even know you had. Well, um, like I didn't know I can do like a female voice until I started like talking to my daughter and making fun of her. Like, Daddy, my hair. Oh, did your hair get wet? My little darling, did my little darling hair get wet? Do I need to brush your hair out from that wetness? I remember I was at a coffee shop. We were at a coffee shop, one of our Sundays that we used to have. And I think she was telling me she was single or something again or something and out there. And I'm like, oh great. But I'm like, oh great, my daughter's in the dating pool. But it's like, I was like, was he like cute? Or was he like super cute? Or was he like, oh my god, young? And it's just I don't know, this something something that came out in the middle of came out in the middle of a discussion or something about I think she was oh, she's a traveler, so she goes like out of, the country and experiences, different people from different cultures. So I think that's where that came from. Uh there was this guy I used to work with when I was working for uh this cell phone company. I'm not gonna name which one because I don't want copyrights and lawsuits. But he was always like, he was such, straightforward or something. He's one of those direct, doesn't like he never had an F to give in the first place. It's like, hey, just know what I want. Yeah, I know what kind of girl I want. It's gotta be a 10. I'm a 10. I need a 10. So you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, man. Yeah, I got a girl. I'm like, yeah, because I was asking him, like, hey man, like 1 through 10, what kind of girl you gotta have? I'm like, yeah, dude. Gotta be 10. You know what I mean? It's gotta be making hot. It's gotta be smoking hot, man. That's all I want. That's the only one. I'm not an asshole, I just the only one. I'm like, okay. And it's like the way he's like not even subtle. He's not having that like soft talk about him at all. He's just like, like because he was a salesperson. So like he has a completely different like persona to him. He's like, you talk about the phone. Like, yeah, it's got features. Yeah, it's got Bluetooth. It's like wireless, Bluetooth. It's got everything you want, man. You know what I mean? Like, excuse me. It was a hiccup. But it was that like kind of ego that sold like all the phones. It's like, It's like, no, I can understand that. Like the way he talks, like, yeah, I can understand that. Yeah. Well, like, yeah, like it could be expensive, but not having this feature, I mean, could be more expensive. You know what I mean? So even if you're not really interested in this one, let me show you this other one. Come on, over here. Yeah, this one, it's got what you need. And half the price. You know what I mean? Telling you. It's great. You love it. You'll thank me. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I could ever be that, but that was him. His job was to sell phones, and damn it, that's what he did. And my friend that I uh, met at school when I went to National Institute of Technology when I attended NIT. This was like 20 years ago. So he's from California. So because he's from California, he speaks Californian like fluently, like West Coast all the way. He's like, dude, like everything he says is Californian. Like, dude, remember when we were like in school and we were in Mr. like Claybo's class and like almost like half the class like failed his class and shit. Like, yeah, I remember. Like, dude, that was like hard. Like his class was like the hardest at all. I'm like, yeah, I know. I mean, I barely passed myself. Yeah, but dude, I like popped my transistor and my transistor and like made it all smack. Dude, it was like just wow. I'm like, yeah, I remember that. It was funny. Everybody laughed. I know I did. It's like, yeah. Oh, dude, your idea. I remember like this theory you had around like gravity not existing and all that. I'm like, oh, really? You remember that one? That was like Mr. A's class, I think, or Mr. Kelly's class. You remember Mr. Kelly's class? Like, dude, I remember everything about Mr. Kelly's class. Remember I did like where's the Boeings and I'm like, yeah, I remember. So that's how he talks. So he talks like that. I mean, I love it. I mean, it's straight up Californian, but that's. I mean, hey, no, I still talk to him too. I mean, I still check up on him too. It's like you're talking to a Californian and you know it. uh, what do I want to talk about now? I've been out here for like an hour and 30 minutes. I said I was only going to do an hour, but look what it's turned into. Uh, I mean, I guess I've been kind of enjoying myself, so and this coffee, so I don't see why not. So I work later on today, so I know I'm gonna need to like probably soak in the tub and relax a little bit because I need one of those being my age. But when I get out of work tonight, I am gonna be going to the club that frequently people my age and older go to. I need the social interaction that I get from that place every time I go there. Even the bouncers and the register girl you pay to get in, it's how are you doing and nice to see you back. Da, 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 da. So it's just a completely different energy. And the music there is something I could expect they're gonna play. Sometimes I know the playlist better than the DJ. So that's problematic. I mean, they should really mix it up a bit, but try telling them that. Uh but yeah, I'm gonna have a good time tonight. Tomorrow I'll be off of work and I will be checking out Mortal Kombat 2. I am trying to um get a date for that if that's possible, but I mean in this era I'm not there's no woman that I'm talking to like that right now to where like a date with her tomorrow at the movies is possible. I mean, It is what it is. This it is what it is. Like I said, I hope to sometime. There is this girl I'm talking to. I gave two girls my phone number within the past month or two, but neither one has like reached out or text or whatever. They accepted the number because we were talking and there was a vibe there. But when push comes to shove, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, they're not going to call, they're not going to text. And it's a shame because, yeah, I could ask them for their number, but if it's a no, then it shuts the whole possibility down rather than just me handing them a slip of paper in which the option is open and remains open. But I don't know if calling or texting is like really too much. I mean, I don't know. That tells me where we're at in this day and age. You know, you text me hi, and I text you hi back, and then I would keep the conversation going. But I can only do so much as a you know person my age can do and know what works. So instead of just giving my name and phone number, I started putting down all my socials. And I put down all my socials because like I think that's just how like a lot of people are gonna move. Now, depending on who I'm dealing with, now if it's someone who's my age, I'll probably just if it's someone who's my age, like I'm gonna give them my phone or they're gonna give me their phone and we're gonna put our numbers in. But I understand that with the younger generation, you have to have a piece of paper, hand it to them, have all your socials, and then they can just do what they will, you know? So, yeah, it's just kind of where we're at right now. That's where I'm at right now. And stepping out into the world and experiencing it in the 21st century, online and all that crap. Mm. So, also as far as the impressions go, sometimes I get lost in them. I remember trying to have a conversation uh, in my head between two different personalities. And I'm like, okay, like what's he saying and how's he saying it? And da, 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 da. And I'm like, what's the accent on that word? And I'm like, So sometimes you'll just need to sometimes I need to verbalize, especially my German accents, like German or Spanish or um Italian, I do yeah, I cannot do too much of Italian because I do not know, some of the cadences are a little tricky to pull off. You have to hear a lot of Italian people talk before you can kind of mimic and create your own character. I think I think the Jersey accents are fun. It's like, well, look over here, fucking asshole. No, look the fuck over here. Get out of here. Get the fuck out of here. What are you crazy? What do you have mind? Like people from the Northeast or whatever, like say the word, they drop the F bomb in their speech more times than ands, ifs, or buts. What the fuck are you doing over here? Who the fuck do you think you are? Who the fuck you think you're talking to over here? Get the fuck out of here. So it's, so it's yeah, it's a little interesting, like I'm how they communicate and uh New Yorkers are because New York is such a diverse city, uh like imitating specific New Yorkers is I'm not gonna say almost impossible. It's just like your typical New Yorker sounds like what? Do they all have the angry, get in my fucking way like attitude or um or is that just downtown? like I'm crossing the street over here. What the fuck is the matter with you? Yeah, your mother. You know, uh, uh, I mean, I think it's evolved over time. I mean, maybe that was the 70s, 80s, or whatever when New York was rude. I think it's a lot more like decent and respectful to a certain extent. Um, there isn't like I don't think there's a purse snatching every 5 seconds or 5 minutes like they would have you believe, like on the Equalizer opening or something. I don't know. Uh but yeah, I need to go back to New York. Actually, I used to. I visit there when I was a kid. Stayed a couple weeks or something like that there. Maybe one summer with my grandparents. But I'd like to go back and visit and see what it's become now. So, um, I was, yeah. So, like I said, a lot of impressions come from a very special place. It's the horde. It's the horde in here, just all sitting in a big circle and sharing the light, as it were. I think that's the closest uh what do you call it, analogy you can put it, from Split, if you ever seen it. It's the horde in my head, man. It's killing me. It wants the light. It needs the light. Yeah. So, whatever that means. But let's see. I'm into horror movies. I saw Believe I Belong. I saw Terrifier 3 and 4 in theaters. So that was a thing. Um really, really disturbing and bloody, disgusting movies. Uh okay, fine. I just believe that that type of stuff belongs in theaters only, not in anywhere or shape or form in real life. So, PSA. But I would hope that, um, well, it's about like 1:30-ish, well, 1:23, but 1:30-ish where I'm at. I would hope, I don't want to take up too much time of your day either. I know you guys have lives, well, some of you. I would hope that me being up here today has entertained you, informed you, made you consider uh, opening yourself up to being approached again and do the approaching. Uh, Also, I guess I'll end with this, and you might find this shocking, but I've been thinking lately that you know we talk about what's been talked about on the internet is hookup culture and how quote unquote dead hookup culture is, and to some extent that's true. But hookup culture was based off of people of my age group getting together, smashing each other without any expect. Okay, here's what happened. What you guys are discussing now, as far as expectation, chivalry, and dating and courting, like hookup culture doesn't ignore all that. What it does is it puts all of that on the back burner, meaning we don't care how much money you make or what your financial or social status is. What we first want to do is experience you like sexually. And if we're sexually compatible, we can build everything else up around that. Meaning, if you do meet financial requirements, if you do meet other standards, then a relationship can build because you both have like sexual chemistry, and that's what hookup culture like started. As far as people my age, yeah, it was never meant to be. um, score as much as humanly possible. The goal of it was to screen out potential partners and girlfriends and wives during a dating process. Like it was like it's meant to because it's weird. Hookup culture is two random people seeking sex and agree to a time, place, and circumstances. And that is completely void of anything as far as a relationship, anything as far as a buddy buddy friendship. It goes outside of colleagues and work and personal lives and kids and it goes far beyond that. It cuts all of these other things off, and it sticks to just the sex. So the sex is what we agree to engage in, me and you, and we don't have to concern ourselves with a relationship. If that's not what we both want, then that's perfectly fine and acceptable, and we're both on the same page. And it only needs to stick to a sexual session that we both agreed to have if our schedules are allowed to have it. Um, if we want to take it further, then we would be taking steps to get to know each other, meaning we would be going out on dates, we would be talking differently about. We're getting to know each other as two individuals, and then we're vetting each other that way, and then we're finding out more details about each other that we do or don't like, um, and we're moving forward. Like two people are moving forward in one direction. But hookup culture is about sticking to the sex part. Stick to the sex part, and you don't have to concern yourself with ever having to feel quote unquote emotional attachment to the person that you're hooking up with. So it was meant to be completely disconnected from relationships, but only be connected like sexually because, both people are having needs that need to be fulfilled by the other. So um that's where the basis of that came from. It was part of a way that people can get their needs met. I mean, to summarize it in a nice red bow wrapped in a present. But I do think that um, not enough, not enough sex is being had, and I can tell among the younger generation that not enough sex is being had because of how you think and behave about it. Like you're both kind of afraid of it, and I think because there's a severe misunderstanding that sex is supposed to be quote unquote um, sacrosanct, and it isn't. Marriage sacrosanct, and so is family, but never sex, like never. No. The reason I am saying this directly is because in order for the human species to survive, sex is required. So it's outside of any other type of activity that we do. It's more sex is more necessary for a plethora of reasons. And I just let me, while I'm here, let me just go ahead and explain why. It drives men to do things for women that they otherwise wouldn't do, and it allows us to value women that we otherwise wouldn't do. So if we're bonded together and we have chemistry sexually, then it means that I can disengage from the dating market and cut off all other pursuit of sexual conquest because I found the person that fulfills all of my needs sexually. And then you can build a monogamous or more honest and open relationship around that. If that's what and this is something that you both want. So this is sometimes if we're both playing this game and we connect sexually and we both like how we're, engaging there and we're cutting off everything else, Well, you start to build through, communication and getting to know each other and opening up. So, I mean, it's kind of to some people they feel it's backwards. They feel like you need to talk and get to know to someone. And that's true too. I mean, that's the old school way of doing things. That's the more practical way of doing things. But in the digital era, like hookup culture kind of allowed us to say, hey, let's like turn things on the sexual market and go from there and build from that. But what I want to say is either way is fine. One is not more quote unquote destructive than the other unless you allow it to become destructive. So I think that I wanted to go over why sex is important, why having it as often as humanly possible is important, and it allows us to like I had it Friday, yesterday. Um, not going into any details, but just because I'm just putting that out there. The way that I feel right now and yesterday is far better than if I had not had sex yesterday. It would have been another day, another Friday, which is a good day anyway. Nothing wrong with Friday. But I had a better day because I had sex. Like it improves your social and your mental and your physical and your spiritual balance. It allows you to enjoy your existence after like having had it. Every time you have sex, you feel good. You feel better. Your well being has improved after having engaged in said act. If this is true for everybody, universally speaking, and sex is good and it's pleasurable, more people need to be having it more often. You will change your attitude, your behavior, your outlook on life, how you interact with people in the real world. Um, you will be more pleasant to be around. You will be more now that you've had sex, your mind can be free from it. You can actually concentrate on other things like being fulfilled and being happy doing your job or fulfilling some type of obligation. Like you feel 10 times more powerful and capable walking into that meeting or walking into whatever situation after having sex like a couple of hours ago. Like your day and your existence actually feel that much better just because you had sex. Like everybody's got to, you know, have this thing, this after sex glow about them. Everyone should be having it. I want you to just imagine society if it had like 3 times, 4 times the sexual encounters than it does now. What kind of society would we be living in? Is everyone really angry and upset and just pissed off at something or somebody for some reason? I don't think so. I think that your common social interaction would be so much better. It just would. And I'm not saying like a big like orgy type deal. We're going to just be doing everyone. I'm just saying more sex, whatever that looks like. Now, a bunch of random people. I mean, I don't know. That's a safety issue, right? But I mean, with just the same person, just one person that you have sexual chemistry with, that can tick all your boxes and you can tick theirs too. Like I think that we underestimate not only the meaning and the power of sex, but the healing power that it has. You feel better after having done it. Like you do. Like your day is more sunnier and like you can give a F about whatever. You had sex today. You know, in my mind, I'm like, so what? We're out of like like onions. I had sex today. I might. Like you alright, you're good. So more. In order for the species to survive, sex is a necessity. But it's not, it's more than a necessity for humans because we're able to confidently handle the real world and the real people in it after having had sex. You're more confident about everything you do. We need to be having more of it. And sometimes that can look different too. I mean, I don't know if, you know, oh man, am I really gonna get in trouble for saying this? I don't want to say, I want to say if you're single, I think that's the only type of like status where it is mostly grand on a macro level, on a general level. I think when you're single, yes, it's going to be acceptable to have sex with multiple people. I mean, that's just, if you think about the logically, if you're single, you can have sex with one person or you can have sex with like 3 or 4 different people because that's just the odds of the game that you're playing. Um, but single people struggle to acquire sex sometimes. I mean, certain people do, but we're all on the hunt for it. I mean, that's kind of what this whole game is usually all about. It's just that in hookup culture, it's more direct. It's far more direct, open and honest too. But yeah, I wanted to state how important sex is to have, and how frequent you should be pursuing it, and how frequent you should have it, and in its many different forms. You people, men and women of all ages, men and women that are adults, should be pursuing it as often as possible for your sanity and for your self-esteem and for the fact that not only does it feel good, but you feel much better after having done it. You move through the world differently. You appreciate people and things, and you uh, you feel much better ever after having done it. And I think more people need to be walking around with that feeling, that glow, um, everywhere they go. And I mean, you can't. I guess you can't have that feeling every day. I mean, I don't know the kind of people who can have sex every day. I mean, it'd be pleasurable, it'd be nice, but at some point you're gonna need a break from it because you don't want something that's supposed to be pleasurable to turn into a chore. Um, and the feeling, lasts, a week or a couple days or whatever. So sex is something you can actually space out. I mean, for me, I mean, being older, but when you're younger, you can have it more often and more frequent. That's what it kind of seems like, on this side. So yeah, I mean, sex, young people, like you need to get you some, get you a lot of it. I mean, this waiting game of who moves first on the chessboard has got me bored and disgusted. Um, it needs to be known that men are consistently in pursuit of sex because every male in every species is built that way. Sex is usually in 90%, 99% pursued by from a man to a woman or male to female. I mean, go through any species you want. But I mean, if you're gonna find the one where the woman is, initiating, congratulations, you found the one, species or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, we're built to pursue sex. That's all we're thinking about. That's all we want to do. That's what makes us feel good. That's what drives us to do more, to be more, anything you'd like us to be. If women were open to having sex with more men, average men, I guess, you'd have a healthier society. Like you'd have a bunch of women who are being appreciated by men, average and the like. Uh, you would have a lot more healthier relationships. You'd have a lot more healthier customer service at a job. You'd have a lot more positive outlook on life. You had a lot more um, less stress and less anxiety. Like I believe that sex can actually improve your mental health the more of it you have. Not the more Yeah, the more of it. If you've gone 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks without having sex, you will feel it. It comes out. Negativity comes out. I'm horny and like I need like this, and I'm like bitchy or in a mood or I don't like you or screw the world, screw the job. Like that is a lack of sex. you know, Men are this, women are that. That's a lack of sex. When you have sex, you are not talking smack about the other gender. You're not. You're appreciating everything that they're capable of doing for well over an hour and some odd minutes in a bedroom somewhere or in a bed. So, I mean, I'm hearing all this fronting and all this, I don't need a, but no, it's the sex you need. The sex is something like the sex is a necessity. It is a necessity. And I think that people need to treat it like it's a necessity. If you get what you need sexually satisfied, how angry of a person are you really? Like, does your life really suck? It doesn't. I mean, you go to work, you go out of town, whatever it is, but you are after sex, you are a more happier person. Like you just are. So it's just, I think that needs to be like a mutually understood thing between younger people, well, people all over, but I say younger people because of the Gen Z, gender war disconnect kind of thing. If this is understood, if this can be agreed upon about both parties that both this is what you want and this is what you need, and you need to tend to your needs, and you can get all your wants right after that, everything will turn out better for both parties. If both people are having sex, like both of their days are better. They're that much closer to maybe maintaining or getting into a serious relationship that can turn into something real. Now, I'm not saying that hookup culture is perfect or everyone should engage in it, but I'm just saying that it's a methodology in which you can just find partners long term or otherwise. So, I'm don't do quote unquote what I say. I'm not a dating coach or anything like that. I'm just an older guy who feels compelled to inform you on what it is exactly, where it came from, how it came to be, and why things are the way they are, just so you have a thorough understanding. So, all right, 2 hours. So I'm gonna like put the salt in my bath and run the bath water. Like, oh, relax a little bit. Being 6'3" is kind of, you know, um, you pay for it. I mean, yeah, you can reach the top shelf, and yeah, you can get all the rebounds in basketball, but you know, when you get older, it's not really fun. You have to look down at everybody, hurts your neck. Um, got to hunch a lot getting in and out of cars. uh, yeah. So anyway, I hope everyone has a good Saturday afternoon. As I end here, and I hope you guys found what I said to be useful or entertaining or both or whatever, And I guess I'll catch you guys maybe tomorrow. I mean, I don't want to be that post every day person I was just ranting against. But tomorrow I'm off. That's the only reason why I mentioned that. And I'd like to be able to receive some, not receive, but get some comments and feedback about what I'm saying and whether you think I'm right or wrong, or um, what your experiences are. Maybe tag me in. Maybe you can tag my my whatever, my link, or whatever, a mention or something, whatever it takes to bring to my attention or notifications that you posted a reaction to what I've said, or a video that I posted, or something like that. Because I'd really like to know what you younger people are thinking and feeling as you're navigating through this environment. I want to know if you feel or believe that us millennials kind of dropped the ball, or in telling you um, what dating is and what hookup culture is and how it works and what it's supposed to be and how we did things. If we had explained all of these things to you more clearly and more directly, um, everything wouldn't be toxic, everything wouldn't be red flag, everything wouldn't be SA, everything wouldn't, you know what I mean? We did not explain to you what it is and what it ain't, which is why it's used and thrown around everywhere. So anyway, I am here for it, and I hope you'll be here for it. So as we navigate through 2026, dating in the modern era and approaching, and my talents and impressions, or whatever you want to call it. I hope you guys have a good Saturday, and I will check y'all later on the next one.